The endless void of space was a canvas, painted with the faint glow of distant stars, a serene and deceptive illusion of peace. Earth's defense fleet, a mighty collection of battle-tested warships, held formation above their homeworld. Their sleek metallic hulls reflected the golden hue of the sun, and their weapon systems hummed with latent energy, waiting for the inevitable.
Int.
USS Valiant, Command Bridge. The command bridge of the USS Valiant was a hive of controlled chaos. Officers in dark uniforms moved swiftly between stations, their faces lit by the soft glow of holographic displays. Admiral Elias Hawthorne stood at the center, his piercing gaze locked onto the tactical map that projected the incoming enemy fleet. His fingers curled around the edge of the command table, knuckles white with tension. Admiral Hawthorne. Steady, commanding. All ships, maintain formation. They'll expect us to break ranks. Let's not give them the satisfaction. A low hum resonated across the bridge as Tactical Officer Lieutenant Vega looked up from her station, her expression grim. Lieutenant Vega. Sir, the Zarkid fleet has entered long-range sensor range. Multiple Dreadnought-class vessels detected. ETA. 10 minutes. Hawthorne exchanged a glance with his XO, Commander Jennings, a seasoned veteran whose face was etched with years of hard-fought battles. Commander Jennings. Looks like they've brought everything they've got, sir. Admiral Hawthorne.
Good.
Let's remind them why Earth is not an easy target. EXT, Earth Orbit, Fleet Formation. The Earth fleet moved with a precise elegance, a ballet of steel and firepower. Fighters darted between the massive capital ships, taking up defensive positions around the larger vessels. The planetary defense grid hummed to life, a network of orbital cannons and missile platforms aligning to face the incoming threat.
Int.
Earth Defense Command, War Room. Deep below the surface of Earth, Ambassador Helena Grant watched the live feed with a mixture of dread and determination. Around her, generals and advisors huddled over holographic maps of Earth's strategic defenses. General Riker, a towering figure with grizzled features, addressed the room. General Riker, our ground forces are in position. Should they break through, we'll be ready. Grant nodded, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the table. We cannot allow them to break through, General. They came to destroy us. Let's ensure they leave with nothing. EXT, Space. First contact. The Zarkid fleet materialized out of the darkness, like a swarm of nightmares. Their ships, dark and organic in design, pulsed with eerie bioluminescent patterns. Without hesitation, they opened fire.
Int.
USS Valiant, Command Bridge. The ship shuddered as the first plasma bolts slammed into the forward shields. Vega's voice cut through the commotion. Lieutenant Vega. Shields holding at 80%. Return fire. From the Valiant, streaks of blue plasma lanced out, striking an enemy cruiser and sending debris spiraling into the void. The battle had begun. EXT, Space, Battlefield. The once serene orbit of Earth became a maelstrom of fire and destruction. Human fighters weaved through the enemy formations, unleashing precision strikes on vulnerable points. Massive human battlecruisers exchanged volleys with Zarkid dreadnoughts, the darkness of space alight with explosive bursts.
Int.
USS Valiant, Tactical Station. Commander Jennings barked orders as data streamed across the screens. Commander Jennings. Concentrate fire on their carriers. Cut off their fighter support. Admiral Hawthorne. Nodding. All squadrons, focus on target coordinates. Let's clip their wings. As the order went out, human interceptors swarmed enemy carriers, launching missiles that punctured the hulls in brilliant explosions. The Zarkid forces retaliated, launching swarms of fighter drones that tore through human defenses with brutal efficiency.
Int.
Earth Defense Command, War Room. The war room was tense as data poured in. A holographic representation of the battle displayed the shifting tide of war. General Riker. We're holding the line, but barely. They're pushing harder than we anticipated. Ambassador Grant's eyes narrowed. Then we push harder. Send reinforcement squadrons to Sector 5. We hold at all costs. EXT space, the turning point. Amidst the carnage, the USS Valiant led a strategic counterattack, targeting the enemy flagship. Railguns and missiles hammered the Zarkid command vessel, its shields flickering under the relentless assault.
Int.
Zarkid command ship. Inside the alien ship, Grand Overseer Exilnath observed the destruction with an expression of calculated malice. Exilnath. Translated. Their resistance is formidable, but they will not last. Deploy the Harbinger.
Int.
USS Valiant, command bridge. Vega's console blared an urgent warning. Lieutenant Vega. Sir. Massive energy surge detected. Something big is coming through. Admiral Hawthorne. Brace for impact. A monstrous Zarkid dreadnought emerged from hyperspace, its colossal form dwarfing the human ships around it. It opened fire with devastating force, shredding several human frigates instantly. Commander Jennings. Sir, we can't take another hit like that. Hawthorne's jaw clenched. Divert all power to forward shields. We need to find a weakness, and fast. EXT space, final push. The battle raged on, with humanity holding the line with sheer grit and ingenuity. Experimental weapons, once thought unreliable, were deployed with devastating effectiveness. Human ships used unpredictable maneuvers to outflank the enemy, their determination driving them forward.
Int.
USS Valiant, command bridge. An explosion rocked the ship, and emergency alarms blared. Hawthorne steadied himself, locking eyes with his crew. Admiral Hawthorne. We are Earth's last defense. Give them everything we've got. The Valiant fired a final barrage, striking the enemy dreadnought's core. A massive explosion engulfed the ship, sending shockwaves rippling through the battlefield.
Int.
Earth Defense Command. War Room. Cheers erupted across the war room as data confirmed the destruction of the enemy flagship. General Riker allowed himself a rare smile. General Riker. We did it. We actually did it. Grant exhaled, her voice steady.
No.
This was just the beginning. We've survived their first strike, but now we hunt them down. EXT space aftermath. The remaining Zarkid ships, now leaderless and disoriented, retreated into the void. Humanity stood victorious, but scars of the battle remained. The fleet, though battered, held strong.
Int.
USS Valiant, command bridge. Hawthorne watched the fleeing enemy with a steely gaze. Admiral Hawthorne. They attacked us. Now we hunt them across the stars. Fade to black. The once silent corridors of the USS Nemesis now buzzed with a nervous energy. Humanity's first decisive victory over the Zarkid fleet had sent shockwaves through Earth's defense forces, but Admiral Elias Hawthorne knew that the war was far from over. Sitting at the helm of a vengeful hunting fleet, he was determined to ensure that humanity would never again be caught off guard.
Int.
USS Nemesis, briefing room. A holographic map of the galaxy flickered in the dimly lit room, showing various Zarkid supply lines and strongholds across multiple systems. Officers and tactical specialists filled the chamber, awaiting orders. Captain Avier Sterling, Hawthorne's second-in-command, studied the data with a critical eye. Captain Sterling. We've identified key Zarkid outposts in the Proxima Centauri system. Their supply chain runs through here, feeding reinforcements to their front lines. Hawthorne nodded, his gaze unwavering. If we cut them off here, we starve their war effort. No supplies, no reinforcements. We hunt them until they have nowhere to run. Lieutenant Dax. Smirking. Sounds like we're going to hit them where it hurts, sir. Sterling's lips curled into a smirk. We don't just hit them, Dax. We obliterate them. Admiral Hawthorne. Prepare the fleet. We deploy within the hour. The room erupted into movement as officers rushed to their stations, setting the course for Proxima Centauri. Hawthorne remained behind, staring at the glowing map. He clenched his fists, a storm brewing behind his steely eyes. EXT Deep Space, Earth Fleet en route. A formation of Earth's warships, led by the massive USS Nemesis, glided through the stars. Fighters flanked the larger ships, their sleek forms designed for swift, precise strikes. As the fleet approached their target, the atmosphere inside the ships became electric with anticipation.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. Hawthorne sat in his command chair, monitoring the fleet's approach. A soft chime echoed across the bridge. Lieutenant Vega. Sir, we have visual on the Zarkid supply depot. It's heavily fortified. Looks like they were expecting us. Hawthorne leaned forward. Good. I want them to know we're coming. Initiate silent approach until we're within strike range. The ships powered down non-essential systems, gliding stealthily through the void. Tactical officers exchanged silent glances, their hands hovering over weapon controls. EXT, Zarkid Supply Outpost, Proxima Centauri. The alien outpost, an amalgamation of jagged organic structures and mechanical fortifications, pulsed with an eerie green glow. Supply freighters moved between platforms, offloading weapon caches and fuel cells. Inside the outpost, Zarkid drones monitored long-range sensors, their bioluminescent eyes flickering in sync with the data streams. Suddenly, the Earth fleet emerged from the shadows.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. Hawthorne's voice cut through the tension. Admiral Hawthorne. All ships, engage at will. Show them no mercy. The fleet sprang to life, launching a full-scale assault. Missile barrages streaked across the blackness, impacting the alien defenses with earth-shattering force. Railguns fired, piercing the outpost's hull and sending debris into the void. EXT space, dogfights erupt. Human fighters weaved through the enemy's returning fire, engaging Zarkid interceptors in deadly dogfights. Explosions erupted as pilots outmaneuvered their alien counterparts, executing precise strikes on vital points of the enemy infrastructure.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. Alarms blared across the bridge as enemy fire struck the ship's shields. Lieutenant Vega called out from her station. Lieutenant Vega. Shields at 70%. Enemy battleships moving into position. Admiral Hawthorne. Sterling, take Squadron 3 and flank those cruisers. We need to split their firepower. Sterling grinned and saluted. On it, sir. She disappeared down the corridor, rallying her team.
Int.
Zarkid Command Center. Zarkid commanders hissed orders, their movements frantic. Tactical displays showed their forces being pushed back. Grand Overseer Exile ATH, a towering figure with an exoskeletal frame, narrowed his piercing black eyes. Exile ATH. Translated. Deploy the dreadnought. If we lose this outpost, we lose the war. EXT space. Zarkid dreadnought arrives. A massive Zarkid warship emerged from the shadows, dwarfing the human fleet. Its hull shimmered with deadly energy, and it fired devastating plasma blasts that carved through Earth's forces, destroying several frigates in a single volley.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. Hawthorne gritted his teeth. All ships, focus fire on that dreadnought. Bring it down. The fleet adjusted formation, targeting the behemoth with everything they had. Missile salvos, laser barrages, and railgun blasts struck the enemy ship in a relentless assault.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Engineering Bay. Chief Engineer Sanders frantically worked to stabilize the ship's power systems. Chief Engineer Sanders. We're losing power to weapons. We need more time. Admiral Hawthorne VO. You've got 60 seconds, Sanders. Make it happen. Sweat dripped from Sanders' forehead as he rerouted power through auxiliary conduits. With a final spark, the weapon systems roared back to full capacity. EXT space. Final strike. Sterling's squadron performed a daring maneuver, skimming the surface of the Zarkid dreadnought and planting explosives along its vulnerable points. As they detonated, the massive ship convulsed, breaking apart in a cascade of fire. The outpost, now defenseless, began to crumble as Earth's fleet delivered the final blow.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. Hawthorne watched the destruction with satisfaction. Mission accomplished. Begin cleanup operations and prepare for the next target. Sterling returned to the bridge, grinning. Looks like we're making a habit out of this. Hawthorne gave a rare smile. And we won't stop until they're gone for good. EXT space, Earth fleet departing. As the human fleet pulled away from the wreckage, a sense of determination filled the void. Earth was no longer the hunted. They were the hunters now, and the Zarkid would learn the price of their aggression. Fade to black. The remnants of the Zarkid Empire were scattered across the stars, their once mighty fleets reduced to fractured remnants, hiding in the shadows of dying suns and asteroid belts. But Admiral Elias Hawthorne and the Earth Alliance fleet were relentless. The hunt had been long and arduous, but it was nearing its climax. The last stronghold of the Zarkid forces lay ahead, hidden within the perilous nebula of Thal'Xan, an uncharted region known for its deadly gravitational anomalies and electromagnetic storms.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. The bridge was eerily quiet, the usual chatter replaced by a tense silence. Hawthorne stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the swirling nebula ahead. Captain Avier Sterling stood beside him, scanning the fluctuating data feeds. Captain Sterling, scanners are having trouble piercing the nebula, Admiral. The interference is throwing off our readings. But we know they're in there. Hawthorne nodded, his voice steady. They can hide, but they can't run anymore. We end this tonight. Lieutenant Dax, their eager but capable navigator, adjusted the ship's course. Bringing us into optimal range, sir. The fleet is standing by. Hawthorne activated the fleet-wide comms. Admiral Hawthorne. All ships, this is it. The final stand. We've chased them across the galaxy, but now we bring them to their knees. No mercy. No retreat. Let's finish the job. The bridge erupted in murmured acknowledgments as officers readied themselves for battle. EXT space. Earth fleet approaching nebula. A fleet of Earth's warships, battle-worn but unyielding, approached the swirling mass of the Thal'Xan Nebula. Bright flashes of distant lightning illuminated the monstrous silhouettes of lurking Zarkid ships within the dense cloud cover.
Int.
Zarkid Command Ship, Inner Sanctum. Within the heavily damaged Zarkid Command Ship, Grand Overseer Xilnath stood brooding over a fractured tactical display. His once proud voice was now laced with desperation. Xilnath. Translated. The humans pursue us to the end of the stars. They are relentless. We must make our final stand here. A younger Zarkid officer hesitated. Overseer, our forces are depleted. Our weapons are failing. Xilnath hissed in frustration. We fight or we perish. They must fear us. Prepare the last of our warships. Engage them within the nebula. EXT space. The battle begins. Earth's fleet plunged into the nebula, their ships slicing through the thick clouds. Sensors flickered wildly, forcing the captains to rely on instinct and experience. Then, from the shadows, the Zarkid forces emerged in a coordinated ambush.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. The ship rocked violently as plasma bolts struck their shields. Vega's voice cut through the commotion. Lieutenant Vega. Multiple Zarkid vessels engaging. We're taking fire from all sides. Hawthorne gritted his teeth. All ships, defensive maneuvers. Focus fire on their command vessel. Cut off the head, and the body will fall. EXT space. Dogfight intensifies. Fighter squadrons darted through the storm, weaving between pockets of ionized gas and wreckage. Explosions lit up the nebula as missiles found their targets, while Zarkid fighters swarmed human capital ships in desperation.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Engineering Bay. Chief Engineer Sanders frantically rerouted power. Chief Sanders. We're losing shield integrity. I need more time. Hawthorne's voice echoed over the comms. You've got 2 minutes, Chief. Make them count.
Int.
Zarkid Command Ship, Final Strategy. Xilnath watched in horror as Earth's forces closed in. He turned to his tactical advisor. Xilnath. Detonate the remaining fuel reserves. Take as many of them with us as possible. The officer hesitated. But, Overseer. Do it. Xilnath roared.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Command Bridge. An urgent warning flared on Vega's screen. Lieutenant Vega. Sir, they're overloading their core. They're trying to take us down with them. Hawthorne didn't flinch. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Target the core and fire at will. EXT, space, final blow. The fleet concentrated fire on the Zarkid flagship, and with a cataclysmic explosion, it was obliterated in a blinding burst of energy. Shockwaves rocked the battlefield, sending debris spiraling into the nebula.
Int.
USS Nemesis, command bridge. Silence hung in the air as the battlefield cleared. The enemy was defeated. Captain Sterling exhaled, running a hand through her hair. Captain Sterling. It's over, sir. We won. Hawthorne nodded slowly, the weight of victory settling in. No, we survived. There's a difference. EXT, space, Earth fleet regrouping. The battered but victorious Earth fleet regrouped, scanning the remnants of the battlefield for any signs of resistance. The hunt was over. Humanity had emerged victorious, proving that they were not prey, but predators.
Int.
Earth Defense Command, War Room. Ambassador Grant stood before a cheering crowd of officials and civilians, her voice steady and strong. Ambassador Grant, today we proved that humanity stands united. We were attacked, but we did not break. We endured, and now we thrive.
Int.
USS Nemesis, Admiral's Quarters. Hawthorne sat alone, gazing out into the vast darkness beyond the stars, a glass of whiskey in hand. Captain Sterling knocked gently on the door. Captain Sterling. Penny for your thoughts, Admirals? Hawthorne smirked. Just thinking about what's next. We may have won today, but war never truly ends. Sterling nodded, understanding. Then we stay ready. Hawthorne raised his glass. To humanity, fade to black. Text on screen. They attacked us. Now humanity hunts them across the stars.